What is up, everybody? Welcome to the part 2 of the website development series. Last time we covered the web development programs that I use, which is Composer, XAMPP, and Aptana Studio. In this tutorial we are going to use XAMPP and Aptana Studio 3. First off, I'm going to show you how to kind of set up your project so that you can use XAMPP and Aptana Studio kind of together. So first off, we're going to want to go to your htdocs. I mentioned that in the other video. It's kind of like the main directory of which you access like the domain files, I guess, from localhost, which is the start of XAMPP. It's kind of hard to explain, but first, you're going to want to hit, new folder, whatever project you're doing. In this case, for me, it would be WebDevTutorial. So that way you have a directory actually in here in the htdocs. Next, you are going to open Aptana Studio and hit New Project. Just have it be Web Project. And then put the name, this will be WebDevTutorial. And do not use the default location because you're going to attach that to the htdocs directory. So, let's do that real quick. Find it in the local disk. XAMPP and htdocs. And then, of course, WebDevTutorial. OK, and hit finish. And the one thing about doing this is you have to make sure that that directory that you hooked it up to is empty, or else it won't do it because it has to set up a project file. So from there, we're going to add a new file. We're going to call that index.php. So I think this is right, but so far it has been with me doing this, but whenever a file is named index, whether it be HTML, PHP, XML, whatever, it is going to be the first file that shows up when you go to this current directory. So hit finish, and this is going to be our front page of WebDevTutorial. And put quotes around that, or not. Guess it's not doing it. Sometimes it'll put quotes around it if you highlight it first. Alright, so then we're going to go to the browser, hit localhost, and WebDevTutorial. Ta-da! Front page of WebDevTutorial. Okay, now from here I'm going to teach you a couple of HTML tags. Right now we're going to do the basic HTML tags, which is doc type, HTML head, title, and body. And then we're going to do divs, tables, image, and links. Not in that particular order, but I'm going to do this in a way that kind of does it structure-wise, because we're going to want to do link before image, because you're going to want to put a link around an image. Let's start with the HTML. You hit the like less than sign, which is the start bracket, and then type in HTML and hit the end bracket. And that, like I said in the last video, it does it automatically for you. So all you have to do is hit enter. Sometimes it'll open it, and when you hit enter, it'll do it like that, or you'll have to hit enter twice, like I just did. So next would be head. Let's do the same thing. And then title. I like to indent the title because it kind of gives it like just that separation. And then you're going to do body next right after the head. Closing of the head. So in most HTML tags, they're going to have you have an open tag and a closing tag. with all these HTML tags, you need a open and closing tag or it will not act correctly. So I'm going to open up the body a little bit and I'm going to add a title. Web Dev Tutorial Home. Save that and we're going to take a look here. It's going to be empty at the moment, but here it shows Web Dev Tutorial Home, and that's what the title is. And then next we have the head, the body. Normally what you put here are scripts or CSS code, and we'll get into that in the next video, at least the CSS part of it. I think scripts are going to be in the next video after that, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't written out the whole structure of these tutorials yet, but I know for a fact that CSS is going to be in the next one, which follows styling. So right now we're going to do divs, and divs is probably the most used for me at least. I use divs a lot for structure purposes, and there's a lot of options for divs that you can kind of utilize. So how you just do a div, I think I did it before in the other tutorial, the part 1, and it's just like that, and that's it. You can add in content here and links and images, images and whatnot, and it'll show. And basically what it's doing, I'll inspect this element so you can kind of see. It's wrapping like a box around the content, and that's essentially what it does. You can add styles to this one div. You can add a background. You can add you can style the text and whatnot to that area and that area only, but that will be in the next video. Next is going to be, actually I'm going to do them all in one, and I'll wrap them in within each other, so it's a little bit more interesting, I guess. Well, actually, so that I have all of them there, but anyway. And then tables is next, so open table, and sometimes, and I think this is actually preferred, after table you do t-body, because it does it automatically on some browsers. If you leave the t-body out, it's fine, I guess, but and that's what I do, is I leave the t-body out, but browsers like put it in because I guess it adds like a structure to it, or specifies that it's actually a real table or something. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. That's just how you're supposed to do it. And then tr, and tr is essentially the cell structure that goes horizontally. In other words, it's the row, so tr, table row, and then td. I'm not sure if tr stands for table row or whatnot, but anyway, and then after that you go td, and that's for columns with, columns within each row. So if I were to do 2, it's going to show me, well, it's not going to show me anything yet, so let's do border 1. That'll just add a border onto the table, and then we're going to do one style so it fits with this tutorial so you actually can see the table. So what we're going to do is put style equals quotation marks, and within those quotation marks we are going to add width, 100%, so that way it'll go all the way across. Let's actually add a little height in there too, so height colon let's do just 100 pixels with a semicolon to end it. So basically what the styling does here, I'll probably recap this in my next video, but you're specifying what style you want to affect, or what part of styling you want to affect. In this case is height and width, and then you add a colon afterwards. You can add a space if you want. It's not necessarily needed, but I do that for kind of organizational purposes. And then you add the specification of that style, which is 100 pixels, the height of 100 pixels, and you could also do it in percentage, which is what I did here. And then after you put that in, you add the semicolon after that, so it closes it. So this is basically like kind of backwards, but it's kind of specifying the styled tag in a way. And then this is your open, and then you specify the style, and then your close. So you need an open and close for every style, or it will interrupt the style. After that, we should be able to see it relatively well. So yeah, so what we just created is one row, which is the TR, one row, and then 2 cells, which is obviously the 2. If we add one more, it'll add 3. There we go. And then if we double this, it'll add one more row to it. There you go. And my shortcut keys that I'm using right now is I just hit Control S for save, and then here I just hit F5 to refresh. So basically saving the file within the location, and then I'm refreshing the code that I have currently put in. So from there, I'm just going to bring this up to 500 height, so I have a little bit more space. I'll probably put like a link here and then an image here, something like that. But I'm gonna add numbers in here real quick. So 1, 2, 3. It's kind of just like a it'll add numbers in here, so I can kind of see where I'm gonna be putting my content later. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Alright, so next, we got divs, tables, and now we're going to do links. So, links, I'm going to put the link in this one, which is 1. So I'm just going to open this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. But for a link, you open bracket, hit A, href, and sometimes some people like to pronounce it out just like ref, which is weird, but whatever. And then you quote, and then end, and then it'll add a ending tag on the end of that. So basically, A, I think, stands for anchor, and then the href, I'm not sure what that stands for, but that's usually related to like URL or location changing, I guess. It's just, my terminology is really weird right now, and I apologize, but I'm doing my best to give it in a brand new user kind of way. It's an easier way to understand it. So after that, you're going to want to put a URL in here, which we can just do Google for right now. I'll even add a www.google.com and then go to Google. So basically what I'm doing here, this is the tag, and href or href, however you want to do it, equals open quotes, and then you add in the URL. And then this is the text that you want to show for that link. So if you add go to Google, it'll show go to Google, but if you don't have anything in here, you will have nothing to click. There's nothing there to click. So you can even add an X, or like I was doing earlier, go to Google, and then you hit go to Google. And another thing people usually want to do with their links is be able to open in a new window, and for that you just open a new tag specification and type in target and equals and quotation marks, and then you go underscore blank, and that will open it up in a new window. There you go. Next is images, and then images, well, linked images. So we're going to add image onto this fourth one. And just to clarify, the reason why tables do this is because they kind of have this spacing like detection, I guess, and it adjusts based on what is in those cells. So that's why it's doing that. So we're going to add an image in here. I'm going to just real quick go grab an image so I can use that URL of the image. I'll find it first, and then I'll show you how to copy the image URL from right-clicking the image. So I'll just be right back. Alrighty, so I just found this caution icon that I guess some people would use in their site. I'm currently building a website right now for a client, and I have used or read one of these. So sometimes you do want to use it, but usually use these when you have processing or forms that you want to like give like notice to a specific part of the form. But anyway, that's usually when you would use it. So we won't actually use any graphic like this until later, but I'm just going to use it for an example. So what you want to do is copy image URL. And then let's go back to this tab and go back to Aptana Studio and then open IMG for image and then SRC for where the image is located. An image is one of those where you don't need a closing tag. It's just one tag by itself and it acts as one element. So with that, we're going to paste the image URL and we're going to hit save and refresh. And there we go. There is your image. And we'll go into, actually, let's just do it right now. So styling for an image, you just style equals, and then quotes. Kind of like how you did it with the table. Actually, exactly how you did it like the table. But with this, if you specify a height or width by itself, it will keep its aspect ratio for that width or height. So if I go height 50 pixels, it will keep that ratio to that specification. So as you can see, now it looks a little bit better because it's shrunken down. So if you, just the way the pixels are, higher quality images are usually just bigger images. So when you shrink them down, they look really crisp. So that's kind of the same thing here. But anyway, that's how you would kind of specify the height or width of how, of what size you would like the image to be. So there's that, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach this link to this image. And it's really simple. Basically, you just take out the text, cut or copy or whatever. You're probably going to want to use cut, and then paste to the front of the image, or on top in this case. And then it will link up like that. So that was easy. And I think that's it for now. So there is your basic HTML tags that you'll be able to use. Next, part 3 is going to be the HTML styling and basic CSS. And you'll be able to do cool things with images and colors and stuff like that. So that one's going to be really fun. But anyway, thank you for watching the website development series. My name is Ginger, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.